assalamu alaikum, good morning, khushamdi, ji ayanu, goedemorgen.
Pacheragale, ni hao, churashumme, washmale, ohio gonzaimes, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, hale shama chatore, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, suaviab, balli kare aayan. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into PTV World. You're watching World this morning alongside the very fantastic, the very superb Shiza Hashmi and Shahzad Khan on a fine Tuesday morning over here in Islamabad. Hello Shiza, how are you doing today?
I'm doing absolutely great. Thank you so much for asking. And I feel even better now because just yesterday I actually officially graduated with my result and everything.
Wow, congratulations.
So yay, I have a new degree now.
And it was post-graduation though.
Yeah.
Oh,
I did my master's.
That's wonderful as well. So ladies and gentlemen, every now and then, I think I've got an incident to share with you.
Yeah.
And I think that for all of those people who are out there, this is going to be one interesting one as well. So first of all, but I do not really want to take it away from you as well. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You've definitely put in a lot of hard work, and for all of those people who are out there, especially women, ladies and gentlemen, life does get a little difficult and it does throw you a lot of quizzes and assignments and projects. But there are people who are willing to do something better for their future in life. Are people like Shiza Hashmi as well, because she was working, she was studying, and she got married at the same time as well, setting an example for everybody who's out there.
That's
Wonderful,
so
yeah.
sweet. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, congratulations. And yes, obviously, for all of these kind words, you'll have to treat me a
I
donut
will.
for every
Don't
word
worry.
I've said. Yeah, but the incident is, so when I was doing my bachelor's, ladies and gentlemen, I was working as well. I was affiliated with another private channel. And I had to, one way or the other, since I wasn't very well, so I had to kind of freeze my semester and go to Karachi and, work over there. So what I did was that I didn't knew that, okay, that the semester you can only freeze for like 6 months or 4 months time. But I took a year off. And when I got back to the university, they were like, hey, you know what, we cannot have you back because, that this is what happened.
So you almost wasted your degree?
Yeah, so I almost wasted my degree, and then I was like crying and I was like, you know what, I really need to do it. So they got me in. But every now and then I'll have to go to Lahore, record my shows and come back. So I actually kind of missed out on one subject.
Okay.
And that subject I think was calculus or statistics. I am not very sure about it.
Can I tell you something? You didn't miss out on anything. I'm pretty sure it's so boring.
No, but I'm going to tell you one thing. So ladies and gentlemen, the pressure was so immense to fulfill that degree that, eventually when I got done with the degree, I've even done my post as well. And even now, till date, there are nights when I actually see as if I haven't done my degree and that I actually have to pass that subject again as well. So yeah, it does happen. The pressure is real. This is something which I wanted to share. But congratulations.
Thank you so much. And yes, you're absolutely right. I mean, till date, I do get the dreams where I'm late for exam or probably I have the question paper in front of me. I don't know what to fill the answers with. So yeah, it happens. It's only natural. And for all the students who are going back to school, universities and colleges now, best of luck for your future endeavors. I'm pretty sure the pressure of studies is going to be a little more because you missed out on so many months. So well, I hope it gets back on track. But one more thing I want to talk about. So this reminds me of a video actually. Not only me, the entire Pakistan was watching on this weekend where this sweet, sweet girl, Nimra, actually went to a park in Lahore. And then the, reporter came in, generally interviewing people from the park. And she got so excited. I mean, the positive energy and the vibes that she, sort of sent out to everyone through that little interview. It was so contagious. She was trending on #1 on Twitter because everyone loved her energy. These are the type of people you want to be around, right? And especially sort of start our day with. So I'm a little guilty. I rewatched her video early in the morning just to catch on the vibe. So sweet of her. And I, actually just looking at the video again, prayers go out to her and for all the people who actually want to bring a smile to everyone else as
wonderful, wonderful as well. What a great start to the day, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody out there is ready to actually listen to what we have for you in our Pandora's box. So the cat will be out in a minute. So ladies and gentlemen, today I think for the very first time we're actually going to discuss on a topic. First of all, obviously, a lot of people have gone through such traumas as well and such problems as well. And we see every now and then in the news. But that's not what we want to discuss. Now, today, what we want to discuss, ladies and gentlemen, is that God forbid, if you have come across such a trauma, if you have come across such a tragedy, how do you actually get back to that life which you had prior to that trauma and that tragedy as well? Absolutely. And Shiza, I think it is so important to talk about because every now and then we are watching, news channels and there are these news as well, and then, on social media. So everywhere, and then you feel like, hey, you know what? For a moment, I don't know whether, I'm not very sure about it, but, we heard the news, you know, even for example, let's talk about the motorway incident as well, and for all of those other incidents which have been taking place recently. And then we say that it's very sad, but we do not for a single second think about the affectee or the ones who's actually been affected by that as well. And we do not even think that the kind of life they are going to live for the rest of the years they have to themselves as well. Which, ladies and gentlemen, has actually struck our heart, and this is what we want to talk about. What are the legalities? Because, yeah, I know, Shiza, that you want to add, but let me just complete very quickly.
Yeah, sure.
And that is that, you know, ladies and gentlemen, we do know that over here gender-based violence exists. Not gender-based only, but there's sexual violence as well, there's emotional violence as well, and it comes from both the genders. It's not that it only comes from women as well, or it comes from men. It's from both the genders as well. But God forbid, if something like that happens, what do you have to do to get back to life?
Absolutely. And Shazad, I think you're right where you said this is not gender-based. It's basically wherever one feels more powerful or, you know, over the other.
Yep.
Oppression exists, and this is what we need to talk about. And the fact where you said we sort of, you know, tend to forget to think about the affectees themselves. Just thinking about it, Shazad, sends chills down my spine as well. I mean, one of the main reasons we wanted to do this segment is for all the people out there who are facing violence, domestic violence, or any sort of abuse and violence at home or even outside at homes. Sometimes they don't want to share because of the fear of judgment.
Yep.
So the only purpose of this is you have to really speak up or speak to your close ones or someone who's a professional, because you're not the only one. Maybe by just speaking, you will be inspiring others to speak about their problems.
Yeah.
And maybe you will be, you know, sort of convincing them that they're not the only ones as well. And you guys can come out of it stronger. So we really need to talk about it.
Exactly. And before we get started, ladies and gentlemen, Banu Qudsiya Sahiba said it, and I think everybody needs to listen to it as well. And she said that, you know, we teach our kids that, you know, education is important. We teach our kids that relationships are important. We teach our kids that, you know, okay, in life you actually have to make a house, get a car, and get settled and have kids, and they need to get education as well. But what we are missing out on is that we do not teach our kids that, God forbid, if divorce is knocked onto your door, what are you supposed to do? That we've actually failed to convince or probably educate our children to let them know that, God forbid, if you've lost their job, how to actually have contentment. Absolutely. God forbid, if your partner has left you forever, what do you actually have to do in that problem? God forbid, if your kids are sick or such a sickness has come into your family where it's devastating and, you know, all your resources are gone, what to do and how to recuperate with life. I think that these are the core issues which we have forgotten to educate teach our children as well. And today is the day where we're going to try and attempt to do it in a nicer way as well, because we have very apt guests over here in the studios. So ladies and gentlemen, very quickly, first up, we have been lucky enough to have been joined by the Director of Women's Center Human Rights as well. She is Sadia Firoz Malik. Hello, Assalamu Alaikum, good morning.
Assalamu Alaikum. Thank you so very much for inviting me on your show. And it is really great being with you people. And I am really inspired that you people have so much knowledge about violence and violence institutions and how to cope up with this issue.
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
It means a lot.
I think it even gets to our heads as well, you know, when we
Inshallah.
talk about it quite a lot, you know. There comes a time when we actually need to take a break and be like, okay, you know what, relax, and then, you know, let's get back to work as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, obviously we want to discuss the legalities involved in it. You know what, you know, may it be a man, may it be women. We're not going to make it just for women or just for men. So, you know, I don't think that we have to say it over and over again. So, whoever comes across such a situation, what are the legalities involved in it? How can we seek help from the law? Because the law, ladies and gentlemen, is the one which actually makes sure that you're going to get what is your right, what is your fundamental right, and if you're right, I think that other person needs to be behind the bars or whatever penalties they're going to face. So we really need to know the law in such situations. So ladies and gentlemen, very lucky. Once again, we've been joined by one of the most apt guests over here in the studio. She happens to be an amazing lawyer. She is Miss Saida Kashmala. Hello, Assalamu Alaikum, good morning.
Walaikum Assalam, good morning. Very nice to be here again with you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so ladies, I know maybe this is a question we would ask a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but since we all are a member of the civil society, I want you guys to answer this.
Okay.
Taking on from when Shazad said that we sort of forget to teach our generations to come on how to deal with bad things that are definitely going to happen in life, since life is not a bed of roses.
Yeah.
So it's not that we don't want to teach them, it's just that we never want to expect something bad to happen to us. Why do we tend to forget that, and why do we not prepare us and our children for such things?
Your point is so valid, and we are already working on this. This is not about underdeveloped countries. This is globally happens. Because if you take the reports from Europe, if you go to Islamic countries, everywhere women are suffering, and we need to sensitize our future generation to sensitize them about women laws and women and the institutions who can help them in the case of violence.
Got it.
When we will come to now about the awareness of women laws, I think we can minimize these cases, and
course,
we can cope up with.
All right. Kashmala, do you have something to say about
I
it?
think you very rightly pointed out that we don't want to expect anything like that.
Right.
But when you are facing these things, then this need to be addressed.
Absolutely.
One major issue we face every day, that we take the word victim in a very wrong notion.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
We take it as a negative thing, but that's the legal status of it. They are victims, but you are the one who's going to make them, turn them into survivors and then thrivers.
Yeah.
There are stages of it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And you can't accept them, you can't make them part of your life if you won't address that first fact that they are the victims.
Yes.
So we need to deal with them in that way, that they get out of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know,
and they're the
empathy at the
victims
rock-
and not the weaker
Empathy.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem, that we take them in a negative notion. We
Yes.
need to
Exactly.
stop the taking the word victim in a negative notion.
Exactly.
No, I think what we
Actually,
need to
she-
change over here is that the way people respond. For example, you
Exactly.
know, God forbid if somebody's come across a trauma or a
Exactly.
problem in life, hi, tum kaise
Exactly.
करते होगे? Hi, तुमसे ये
Exactly.
कैसे
They
होगा?
make
Hi,
they
Bichari.
make
Yeah,
her
yeah.
so miserable, and
yeah.
they victimize actually.
Exactly, and this is something which we need to change, because most of the time people who've actually come across that trauma, they do not want such kind of empathy. They're like, you know
Exactly.
what, can you just treat me normally?
They
You know, can
actually-
you just be normal around me as
Exactly.
well? And I've got an example to share over
Absolutely.
here. That, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I think it was 12 years ago that I was actually diagnosed with CML, and the doctors and no hospital was actually ready to take me in,
Okay.
because my chances of living
Oh my
were
God.
very meager.
Oh God.
And so they brought me back home, and the next morning when I woke up, my father was leaving for Peshawar, and I was like, what are you doing? So he's like, you know, I'm going to somebody, and you know, मैं पानी पे दम करा के लाता हूँ, and I'm going to do that and do this and do what. So it gave me hope that every single member of my family was
can
trying to make sure that I have more life in me as well. And that they didn't actually tell me what was wrong with me for at least a month's time.
Exactly.
Because they didn't wanted it to have an impact on me. Now imagine that having somebody who's actually got a disease which is as ill as cancer, or probably a trauma, or divorce, or losing a child, and somebody
Absolutely.
telling them,
Yes.
"Hey, koi nahi hunda, you know, bas bas ko Allah
ऐसे ही है।
but jehdi Allah di marzi." I think this is something which nobody wants. So how do you think that we really need to behave around people who have been through trauma in life?
Actually, sports system is very important,
Yes.
and sports system should start from the home.
Yeah.
Of course.
If you find any victim, if God forbidden any bad thing happens to you, you need a strong family system which can support you to get out of all this.
Right.
Don't make her, don't leave her in that trauma. You need to give her power. You need to give her strength to get out of this trauma, and don't leave her more traumatized.
You're
Actually,
absolutely right.
bad comments, you know, weak behaviors, that makes her more traumatized.
Yeah.
You are right. I mean, you know what, Shazad, I think you will agree with me. We have sort of grown up, unfortunately, and I'm generalizing again. We have sort of grown up in a society where on a wedding function, you're not expected to have a widow woman, right? Or you're not expected to see a woman with no children when you're pregnant because of bad omens or bad vibes that you'll get. Imagine about the divorcee or about the widow or a person who doesn't have
She's
a child.
labeled.
She's labeled, of course.
She is
Imagine
labeled.
what she must be going through. But these are some of the things, of course, you do feel. And, you know, I mean, this is the approach of the society that you have to change. Now, Kashmala, let's come down to the adversities, or I want to say violence, that not only women, but people generally face at homes. And because of the pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, this increased probably tenfolds.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So you tell me, if something is happening to us at home that is not acceptable, what is my right? Who should I approach? Who should I look forward to help me out? Please let us know everything.
And just to get the statistic right as well, ladies and gentlemen, there's 32% increase in domestic violence. So, you know,
Violence.
you can pretty much imagine. all over
so
the world,
sad.
not just in Pakistan, all over the world.
So sad.
And we can very evidently see the results of it as well. We have, for past few days, we have seen all the news that's coming out, and that's horrific.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, there are laws against it, but this doesn't only affect your state as physical. It have very so much psychological effects as well. When I talk about sexual abuse, there are anti-rape laws. There is Anti-Rape Act 2016 that sensitizes the police even, that that binds them to fire the whenever they are writing the FIR report, the first information report, there must be a woman police officer should be there.
And we have these laws since 2016.
Exactly,
Wow.
we have these laws since 2016. But the same problems always there. Where is the implementation?
Implementations
And you know, I
are
think
the
more than
basic issue.
implementation, I think it's also education. Not a lot of people know
Exactly.
about these rights.
Exactly.
And secondly, you know, the police stations, they are bound to write the report. They're bound to have a female officer. If the victim is allowed, if she allows, then they should do the DNA test.
Okay.
And then there is this thing that they are bound to not let her name out.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
the
They're not
confidentiality,
Oh, yeah.
that is most important part. But what happens?
But then I think that over here it totally depends on the people who actually have been through that trauma, because it's their choice by the end of the day whether they want to give interviews or not. But I think what the media needs to do in these cases as well, for example, ladies and gentlemen, everybody's witnessed this motorway incident, and the name didn't come out. But you know, for all the previous incidents, everybody was being interviewed from the family.
Exactly.
Kaise hua, and I think that I'm very
Recently
sorry
it
about the
happens
kind of
on-
question that Nida
Yeah.
Yasser had to
Yeah.
actually ask the affectees'
Insanity.
parents.
Yeah.
I think it was insane. I think it was
Insane.
very non-humanistic
We
as well.
condemn, yeah.
But now coming back to a point where what I wanted to discuss today was that it goes either way. You know, it's not just with women, because I have come across a situation of such sort. I was being robbed in Karachi. My home was being robbed. And I figured it out that, you know, that the robbers were women who actually were my neighbors as well.
No way.
So imagine that I went to the police station. I told them that, you know, that one of the lady came back to give me my DVD player. Hence, it makes sure that they are the ones who've actually stolen everything.
Of course.
Okay.
I took them to the police station. You know what the police guy said? I'm very sorry. This was somewhat around 7 years ago as well. So whoever the gentleman was, you know what he said? He was like, you know, these women, they're not going to spare you. They're going to shout, and they're actually going to throw mud on you and whatnot. And so they play either way. You know, if it would have been a lady, हाँ जी कपड़े कैसे पहने हुए थे, हाँ जी आपकी
Exactly.
लिपस्टिक कौन सी लगाई हुई थी. So it works either way. I think that it's the police who needs to actually have that kind of education where how to treat an affectee.
We are recently we have started working on awareness awareness with the other sporting departments. जो भी service providers around us, which are most important part in all these to
Dealing
deal
with the public, basically.
deal with the victims. But you know, we need to have institutional changes.
True,
It will not happen in a day or in a month or in a year. It would take a lot of time to change their mindsets.
Exactly.
And there are, most of the cases are not reported just because of the behavior, negative behavior.
Or the fear of
just
judgment.
because of these questions. As Shahzada has just shared, when you go to police station, you have to face a lot of
It's a
things.
different ball game there.
Lot of things
because they have
which
the pen,
humiliate you.
they have the
which
paper, and they can write whatever they feel like.
They feel.
And if you are a woman,
and their
then they're
questions
going
are
to question what sort of clothes you were wearing, what sort of lipstick, what time it was.
Exactly.
And if you are a man, then they would laugh it out. Oh,
Be a man,
लड़कों
forget
के
it.
साथ भी ऐसे
Yes,
होता है.
exactly.
And they would say, get over it. When you tell someone to get over it, you are putting the onus on them.
Exactly.
Even though
Victim blaming.
you are not the one who got yourself robbed,
Exactly.
right? You didn't want it to happen to you.
Other than coming, giving us
These
a
are-
blanket, probably, you know, caressing a little bit, and, you know, giving support and telling the other person to calm down. You know, we have a very different way of
Even-
responding to the FIR.
even their gestures bother.
Right, and the expressions that they make. But this, you know what, Kashmala,
And
this is
think
brilliant.
if some sexual harassment victim goes to file a case, what happens to her?
Exactly, we've seen so many examples.
They
but
take
Kashmala,
them
this
as a
is-
bait, as another bait as well.
Bait,
Right,
God
this is
forbid.
amazing to see
Strongly
that
agree.
actually lawyers like you exist who are actually sensitized about situations as well. But Ms. Sadia, you being the director of the Women's Center of Human Rights, Can you generally, again, let us know what are some of the most common problems that Pakistani women come up with?
They are facing domestic violence.
Okay.
And I think domestic violence has a lot of
Different tiers, actually. There's not just
different
one
tiers.
type.
Yeah, not one type. Actually, when we talk about domestic violence, we get to know that maybe she was hit by somebody, husband, father, brother, or brother-in-law, or somebody. But we have a lot of, there is a lot of variation in domestic violence.
Okay,
A women is. These centers are formed to facilitate all these victims to approach there, and we have, we have started to facilitate them at the level that they feel comfortable to report their case. They feel comfortable to share their problem, as most of the staff is women oriented.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, this was going to be my next question as well, and this is to both of you, and maybe
Okay.
Shazad, you can answer as
Yeah,
well.
go ahead.
First of all, do you guys agree, and how important do you think it is to place women officers in places like this, and then in places wherever decisions are being made?
For the
because it's
comfort
two
zone.
different. Yeah.
For the comfort zone,
Yeah.
first of all, what you have to do with the victim, you have to relax her.
Yes.
You have to give her a favorable atmosphere.
Yes.
So that she should not hesitate to tell you the whole story, the
You're
whole
right.
problem, so that we could make sure her to help her.
Yes. Kashmala, what do you think?
I think, the empathy part of a woman. I would never say that women and men are equal. They are on equity basis.
Exactly.
They are the
Traits,
yin
right?
yang. They complete each other, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Perfectly
So the empathy part of a woman, even if a male come to him, I think she would deal with empathy. A male might laugh it off for a male's story, but a woman, she would empathize with him.
Exactly,
I think
and
so.
We have women.
I think I
on-
agree to it. I agree to it. Every now and then you come across situations like these as well, and this is me being honest, ladies and gentlemen, you probably going and talking to a woman is much more safer and nicer than rather going to a
Exactly.
man who was actually already angry about something else, So what women do is that they
Yes.
do not mix work with emotion, but men, I think, at times, it's a very generic statement, but I think that they do
We've seen it
mix
happen.
emotion with work as well, yes. And we've seen it happen, or probably they'll have their own personal differences because you're doing well in life, he or she does not like your car, so these are normal problems.
Yeah.
But what I want to come back to is, since you were talking about that there's domestic violence
Yeah.
and there's
physical
mental
violence,
torture, there's
yeah,
physical
sexual violence,
and it's-
financial violence,
exactly,
even,
exactly, and it's
spiritual
leading-
violence. Yeah.
Wow. Is there anyone left?
No.
Okay, so let me complete
I
it.
think.
So let me complete it. So what happens is, ladies and gentlemen, that for all of those people who've been going through that violence, unfortunately, they feel like giving up on their lives. They end up attempting suicide, or they die just because of anxiety and stress and heart attacks as well. So we really need to protect them.
Thank you for
but
talking
it's,
about
yeah,
it.
but it's either way, It's either way. It's not just men emotionally torturing,
Exactly.
or it's not just men spiritually torturing, financially torturing, or whatever way.
Exactly.
Now, how do you think, first of all, I'm going to come back to you, how do you think that the law protects the man himself as well from all kinds of tortures? Because there are all kinds of men, there are all kinds of people. There are men who are submissive, there are men who are pessimistic, there are men who are introverts, and there are men who just do not like being men as well.
Misogynists,
Yeah.
man.
So how does the law protect them? And then, I think, how do you think that we really need to give them this hope that, talking about, if God forbid you've been through violence from your partner, is just normal, because men being men over in Pakistan cannot talk about it.
It's
Yaar,
not normal.
have you ever heard किसी ने आके कहा मेरी बेगम ने मुझे मारा?
Yeah.
Just today?
No, actually before that is, but not quite often. You're right.
Yeah.
It's not very common, and don't try to normalize it, you guys. This is why we're here, trying
Yeah.
to educate you every other day as well. But yes, Kashmara,
Yes,
what
and before you answer, one last thing, and that is that,
Okay.
imagine that we're talking about such an important subject, but 10 times you mentioned the victim, the
Victims.
victims. If we need to change the mindset, we need to use the word survivors.
Survivors.
Yes, let's do it.
What we are doing, we want to.
We will come back to you. Yeah, we will come back to you.
just hold on to
Okay,
that thought.
rightly pointed out that we don't really focus on the men when we go in a general, because the basic thing is that there are more cases related to women, and then the more cases are highlighted as well. But when it comes to men, even if when we are talking about divorce cases, when a woman goes for khula, she easily says that he beats me up, he gave me psychological trauma. Because the guy have the power to just declare it 3 times, so he don't need to,
Take it to the court.
Yeah, take it to the court or say that.
I have another reason for that, but yeah, please.
That something was bothering him. It could be that as well. Maybe something was a torture to him. That's why he got rid of that marriage. We need to normalize these things. We need to talk about. When we start talking about it, then we can only normalize
But
it.
the results can be very devastating, and there is a reason. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know. But I'm not going to say that this is a personal experience, but this is something which I've experienced, which I've seen other people experience as well. I mean, a wife can actually come up to the husband every single day of whatever time they have spent within a marriage and say, "Mujhe divorce chahiye," or "I need a divorce." But there's not a single time when a man will actually be like, "I'm going to send you back home," or something of that sort. Now there is a difference, and I think we really need to put our heads to it as well. For somebody who says every day of the year, "I want a divorce," and for somebody who listens to it every single day but does not respond, how do we justify it fairly? That how do we need to educate both the genders on this issue as well? Because God forbid, imagine that if that lady had the right to probably get the divorce, she will get it every single day. And so how many times are you going to get married? Obviously you cannot do that every single day.
Okay, Shehzad.
And you're smiling, that means that whatever I'm stating right now is true.
It is true. I
Somehow.
admit to it, but to some part of it. There are men who tells you, "Okay, if you're doing this, I'm going to divorce you. If you're going to go to your parents'
cheap.
home."
I don't like those men.
But they exist. That's what I'm telling you. That it's not just the woman who keeps saying that I want divorce as well. There are men who tells you that if you're wearing this cloth, if you're going to meet this, if you're doing a job, I'm going to divorce you. Okay, so these are the circumstances as well. And if I talk about Pakistani law, it gives the woman right to divorce as well. If you write it, there is this.
If the nikah Quran does not cut the paper,
I've
seen that.
If you know about your rights, and or even if you just read the nikah nama, there is this place where you can say that you have the right of nikah.
Even then, the husband gives the right to the woman to actually ask for khula.
To actually give herself a divorce. It's like a tehfiz. Delegated right, delegated divorce.
But do you think that women not getting that right is something which has actually upheld the institution of marriage, or do you think that if that right was given, then we would have experienced more divorces? I think that's the debate.
It's all about. I'm sorry.
Please carry on.
It's all about the mindset. I have seen women who have this right and they are still very happily married because they wanted to be in those marriages.
Exactly.
The one when you cut the nikah nama, most of those marriages are बस घर वाले चाहते हैं, अभी शादी ना की तो लोग क्या कहेंगे. These are the reasons. Most of the marriages happening in our society is not because you want to get married, because you want to be happily be married, because what people are going to say, because if you turn 27 then nobody is going to marry you, your age of bearing children will go off. There are so many other reasons for getting married, and those all are the wrong reasons.
True. And Shehzad, where you said
I agree on that those are all the wrong reasons.
Yes, and where you said that what if women had the right to do it? Please don't take me wrong, but this is my understanding of it. Allah Ta'ala knows His creation, right? And He knows that this is the nature or the fitrat of women, or this is the fitrat of men. And like we know, women tend to have a little more emotions to them. Thus, maybe He knew that whenever they do get hyper or emotional, they are going to talk about it. And this is the most hated act. So this is why probably men have the more right to do it, because they will have a more control over their anger and stuff.
They will have more patience to it.
True.
They'll be like,
And
okay,
they know
she's saying it. She'll be fine in an hour's time. Let her do what she wants to do.
Absolutely.
But then it does have an impact on you. Every day you're listening to I'm not happy in this
mental
marriage.
Health is
I need to
bothered,
get this, and I just need to leave you. I need to take my kids away. Imagine what a man will go through, if he's listening to all of this every single day.
It happens from the both sides, not only from the women.
That's for sure.
And it is constructed culturally.
You're right.
Culturally, actually norms are set like this, and we are okay with it.
Yeah, you're right. You know, this actually
That
reminds me of a post.
male-dominating society, and when we go to
Where is it? I don't see male dominating the society now.
Shazad,
I'm
you know,
honest.
male-dominating society, you have to agree on this.
Okay, so here's the thing. Before we move on further with this argument, yes, Sadia, you're right.
Culturally and
Shazad, you can't-
socially constructed thing.
And Shazad, you can't agree to it because you're not one of those men. But you can't
Yeah.
deny
Exactly.
it because they are in majority.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think you
Exactly.
sit with those men. I don't think you deal with those men. So that is why it's sort of new for you. And you know, this actually reminds me of a post where women said that rather than telling your fearful stories to your daughters that if you don't do this, this will happen to you, your dad will do this, husband or brother will do this.
Exactly.
You should have told the similar stories to your sons that don't deal with your daughters this way. Imagine the societal change we would have.
That is the institutional change.
Exactly, we need to have.
And I will quote that text message which went viral, ladies and gentlemen, as well, where this daughter actually asked her father that I actually want to go to the protest, you know, when the motorway incident took place as well. And father didn't say a word that, you know, I want to stop you or you shouldn't go and it's a protest and whatnot. The father actually said that you should actually take your younger brother Ali with you so that he can actually be educated on this point of line as well.
Beautiful.
So I think that that was the most beautiful aspect, ladies and gentlemen. And
Yes.
while children are growing up, that's the time when we actually have to do so as well. Because, ladies and gentlemen, you know, if the parents are going to let their kids know, if they're going to give them that environment where they haven't really seen father and mother arguing or probably asking for divorce or things like that, and then keeping it personal to their levels only and not sharing it with their kids, because eventually what we've seen is that when kids start to grow, the mothers tend to take advantage of it, and then they're like, oh, you know, your father does that and, you know, father does that. Please, ladies and gentlemen, it's a request. If you want your kids to have a very healthy future,
Yes.
whatever is in between you and your spouse, just keep it in between you. Do not bring it out in front of your kids just so that you can gain advantage in that one particular given situation.
100%, I totally agree. I mean, children do not need to be educated or informed about what went on
Yeah.
between you guys. Yes. So, ladies, like Shazad said in the beginning of the show, this topic is sort of a Pandora's box. I know the discussion is so long, but since we're really short on time, I want you guys to give out your last messages to probably not only the women, but every single person who feels violated of their right of life.
Exactly.
Speak to them. Let them know what they can do about it and how they should feel safe.
So
is
this
a
is where
camera.
millions of
Okay.
people are looking at.
Okay, I would give this message that these cases should be reported. You speak up for your rights. There are so many institutions to help you out. There are so many good people around you to support you to become a survivor. And we have to try to support these victims to become survivors.
Wow.
So this is our agenda and this is our, you know, main objective.
Best of luck for
Wonderfully
that.
said
Thank you
as
so very
well.
much.
And ladies and gentlemen, whenever you, God forbid, if you have reached a point where you actually have to report it, I don't think that there's a point which will actually help you come back as well. So, you know, consider before reporting. You should report, obviously. You know, if you've had enough of it, you really need to report so that you can actually save your life as well.
Yeah.
Because it is very important to your loved ones, to your siblings, your parents, and your kids. Please, what about you?
I would ask everyone to come out, voice their concerns, voice their stories, so we all can get together and make a change.
Beautiful.
Wow, wonderful as well. And change is what is required, ladies and gentlemen. And change, is they say, is inevitable as well. But ladies and gentlemen, I think what we need to do is, since we, you know, towards the end of this segment, we were talking about kids and we were talking
Educating
about
them.
their upbringing as well, and we were talking about their education. So I think obviously education plays a very important role. But how parents are actually feeling as of now, because kids will be going back to school, probably coming back to life. There will be, we will definitely, inshallah, for sure see decrease in domestic violence, because domestic violence is not just a husband beating a wife or a wife beating a husband. It is the parents beating the kids as well.
Kids as
And
well,
this is
yeah.
something which we need to know as well. And whether kids are excited or not is something which we'll be discussing. Thank you very much
so
for being with us. It was lovely to have you.
Thank you.
So
It
ladies
was
and
great
gentlemen,
being with you people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're heading out to this short break. And just to add a little note, I think all the housewives are really happy the kids are finally going back to school because they will have their own routines now. But we will find out. So stay tuned. Good morning.
But they weren't happy when the husbands were home all day long. Good morning.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, with Shazad Khan and Shazad Hashmi to Well this morning, which happens to be your favorite morning show, we know that. So right now, we're going to talk about something so interesting. And for all the kids out there watching this right now, because your schools haven't opened, be prepared because we have some of the students up from amongst you, and they're going to discuss what they did in the vacations and what they are going to do when the schools open.
Exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by amazing students over here. And students can be of any age, but today we've actually been joined by young students,
Yes.
kiddos over here in the studios, little angels, princesses, Doras, and yeah, whatever characters you may like, Barbies as well.
Elsa.
So, ladies and gentlemen, first up, we have Miss Momina Noor. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Assalamualaikum.
How are you?
Fine.
It's good to have you. I like your energy. I so want that energy, you know, when I was
Okay.
this young, you know, that's the kind of energy I used to have. I couldn't actually sit in one place as well. But yes, alongside Momina, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky once again that we've actually been joined by Miss Khatija Ahmed. Hello, Miss Khatija. How are you? Assalamu alaikum.
I'm good.
Well, wonderful. It's so good to have you guys. Okay, before we actually ask you whether you're ready for your schools or not, what I want to ask you is that you had a 3-month-long vacation, a 4-month-long
Yes.
vacation, in fact. You were at homes. Did you learn something new?
Yeah,
What did
I
you
learned a
learn?
lot. I learned how to go for my online classes, like on Classroom. I never did it before.
Oh, that's
And-
nice.
and-
Yes.
And do you think that online learning is way more better than
No,
learning
it's
in
not
school?
better.
No.
Oh, you missed your
It's very
friends?
yes, it's very hard. Like you have to sometimes you get disconnected and that stuff. Then you forget your topic and it's hard to understand.
So
there.
just when you're disconnected from the internet, you forget your topic.
No, I disconnect and then like it's hard to learn
Did you
that
pay
topic.
full attention?
Yes,
Or
I'm
do you
very
just
good.
lie in the bed
No,
and you look at the
no,
iPad and you're
no,
like, okay, you know,
no.
the class is going
I sit
on.
on my table sometimes.
All right, well, that's wonderful. What about you, Khadija? You smiling?
I
What did you learn in this long, long summer vacation?
I learned to open Microsoft Teams and
That's nice.
I learned to swim.
Wow.
And,
And are you good at it now? Wow, that's very nice. So is it one of your favorite sports? So ladies and gentlemen, we all know that it's so important to carry any kind of sports, any kind of extracurricular activities
Yeah.
along with your studies. We know that Momna over here is a debater. Are you into any sports as well?
Yeah, I love
And she plays
badminton.
quite a lot.
Badminton? Oh, that's nice. So both
Yeah.
of you girls know how to stay fit.
Do you win all the time or do you like?
No, I sometimes lose, but I win.
Well, who do you
Winning
lose
is
from?
not-
From my cousins and my brother.
From my cousins and your brother. And who loses from you?
No one.
Come on. Okay, I think
No,
I'll
my
have
friend,
to do
my
that honors
friend.
for you as well. But what about you? So while you're swimming, do you have other cousins and brothers and siblings around as well?
yes, we live a few streets from my cousins and we go to their house really often. Like
Yeah.
every day we're at their house.
Every day you go.
Isn't
you're going
it
to
fun
their...
to have your friends and cousins around you? Because mine used to live, I mean, so far away, we would never meet. So isn't it fun to have them?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so
it
now-
is. But I have a very important question. I have a very important question, and that question is that since your cousins live a street apart of you guys, and you guys almost go and visit them every day, but when it was COVID-19, everybody was supposed to stay at home. Were you going to your cousin's place?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that the
Oh,
case,
you were
really?
guilty. You were guilty.
Well, you should actually be glad and thankful to Allah Almighty that everybody is safe and sound as well. But which one of you is actually prepared a poem?
Do you guys know a poem or a song?
No.
Okay, think about it. We'll come to that towards the end of the show. But now, you guys are finally going to go back to school after so many months. First of all, are you excited?
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to? And do you think, like, after going, after spending so much time in your bed and playing and, just chilling, watching movies, are you going to get used to the routine?
I think yes, because I want to be used to.
What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to just study a lot.
Oh, wow.
Studying a lot or playing a lot? Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is that I'm actually going to tell you a few points. And once I'm done telling you those points, you actually have to repeat them for all the kids out there, okay? Because, ladies and gentlemen, the schools are about to open up. Everybody's
Yes.
supposed to follow the SOPs.
So important.
Okay, number one. Number two, every kid needs to go back to bed in time and have to wake up on time as well.
Absolutely.
Make sure that early in the morning they're not crying a lot and not disturbing their mothers as well. Come on, the sock's not getting up. Oh, where are my shoes? Look for it yourself as well. Make sure to carry your own water bottle and your lunch boxes. Make sure that you do not share it with your friends. Make sure that you have safe distance as well, you have mask, and that you keep a check on all of those school members as well, whether they are putting the disinfectant onto those chairs and
Yes.
tables or not, and maintain safe distance and do not touch your friends. Repeat.
Right.
Wear a mask, follow the precautions,
Yeah?
and if you're ill, don't go to the school.
Yeah.
Brilliant. What about you? Can you, because we know you girls are so responsible.
Your own water bottle.
Yeah.
You should keep your own water bottle. Try not to buy anything from the canteen.
Yeah.
And
No
keep
shake
social,
hands, no hugs.
no
Yes.
hugs, no shaking
Just-
hands, and you should keep your social distance from your friends and avoid
that's-
getting touched by
that's
anyone.
nice.
all
You're right. You're right.
That's pretty much it. But you know, I think very quickly what I'm going to do is that I'm actually going to share a situation with you guys, and I want your answer on that. Okay? So this is your first day at school. Okay? Just imagine, consider that this is your first day at school. You went into the school and you saw your best friend. What's the name of your best friend?
Urshia.
Khushia?
Urshia.
Urshia. And what's the name of your best friend?
Fatma.
So you went and you met Urshia, and you went and you met Fatima, and they were like 10 feet apart. Would you start running and go and hug her? What if Urshia came and be like, "Hi, Momina, how are you doing?" And she extends her hand. Are you going to shake that hand?
No.
No. What are you going to do? No. Promise?
Yeah,
This
tell
is
them.
for
My
everybody's
friend will never
safety.
do that.
Yes.
Oh, wow. So tell them, yes, we're still friends, but we have to be safe not just for ourselves, but for our siblings, for our parents, because when you go back home, you will carry all the germs with you that you contracted in the school. So be
Yeah.
safe yourself, okay?
Uh,
And well, best of luck for your
Yeah.
school.
And may it be anybody else. May it not be Urshia or Fatima. May it be anybody else, your cousins. You know, at times, you know, it can probably be, you know, your chachu, your mamu, your nana,
Anyone.
whoever. Just tell them, no shaking hands till the time the government's going to tell us that it's normal to shake hands now. Okay?
Okay.
Wonderful?
Yes.
Wonderful. Now, do you have a poem for us? Come on. I still remember Baba Black Sheep, have you any wool?
But they're in
Yes,
sixth,
sir,
they're
yes,
sixth
sir, three
graders,
bags
they're
full.
grown up.
All right, but anything you guys feel like sharing?
Okay, so like you were learning a lot during the quarantine as well, since classes were online. So can you share with us one of your favorite facts that you learned while studying for your sixth grade? Anything
I
interesting?
learned
Anything
meeting my
interesting?
new friends and my teachers.
Okay.
And I learned that if you're even so far, you can make friends.
Yes, online.
Because I made a lot of friends.
right?
Wow,
nice.
I like you. You know, you're very cool. What about you? I like you too.
I actually shifted to a new school and I had no friends.
Yeah.
And I met Fatma online.
Yeah.
While taking my class, I clicked on her profile and then she texted me that hi, I like your profile picture, because I had like a nature picture on it with a K
Yeah.
for Khadija.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, and she's like, you're new, right? I'm like, yeah. Do you want to be friends? Because I know you don't have any friends. She's like, yes.
Wow.
Oh, do you miss your old school, or is this one good so far?
I think it's
I
good.
miss my old school.
All right, it's all right, but you get used to it, and the only reason why your parents have put you in this school is so that you can get better education from the one you were getting in the previous one as well. But very quickly, what do you guys want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a CSS officer.
You want to be a
Inshallah.
CSS officer. Wow. And which department would you love to go to?
Doctor, I think.
Doctor. For that, I think you'll have to do MBBS, but it's
Yes.
all right.
Okay.
Yeah, but CSS is an exam which you have to clear to be a bureaucrat. You know, it's a civil service exam,
Yeah.
and once you get done with it, you are the one who will be taking decisions for the betterment of Pakistan.
Yeah, so what you can do is do your MBBS first, become a doctor, and then
Then-
pass the exam. So you'll have two things to yourself,
Wonderful.
inshallah.
What do you want to be?
A doctor, a
You want to be a
surgeon,
doctor, a surgeon? What kind of surgeon? I mean, do you want to operate like?
Oh, you want to be a cardiologist, a heart surgeon. That's nice. So who inspires you? Is there someone in your family who's a doctor?
No, but my mom tells me to be a doctor since I was a kid. But first I wanted to be a pilot, but then I saw Mariam,
Yeah.
the first lady pilot, and I was like, no way.
Yes. Oh, did she scare you? But you know, she was so courageous, so you really have to look at it that way.
Exactly.
But being a doctor is brilliant because you're going to save lives, inshallah. You girls are so amazing. And can I tell you something, Khatija? Being from an army background, all my life, every other year, I was changing schools because my dad was posted to different places. So I didn't have permanent friends anywhere, but it was so much fun. Inshallah, when you grow up, you're going to miss this time too. So best of luck for your future. Best of luck for your classes reopening. Please be the responsible kids that you are and follow all the
Right?
SOPs too.
Yeah. And don't give up. You know, even if somebody's eating a sandwich better than yours or tastier than yours,
Don't share.
don't ask for it. Don't just ask
My
for it. Just
friends,
leave it.
we never share our lunch because I mostly have money and I buy from the canteen.
I have
All right,
both.
but no
so
buying
we
from the
only-
But you
canteen,
won't
and
do it
tell your mom
anymore.
to give you a lunch or a lunch box so that you really do not have to, you know, shake hands or take things from somebody else's hand. But God forbid, we never know. We want you guys to be safe from all of those ill diseases which are out there. Be healthy, be fit, study well, and make sure that you do something very nice for Pakistan. Promise?
Yes.
Promise? Wonderful.
All right, thank you so much, young ladies. And like we already said, for everyone who's going back to schools, colleges, and universities, be safe, please. We do not want Pakistan to sort of, get rid of the label we had on ourselves for successfully coming out of COVID-19 so strong.
Exactly.
If you have any questions, any queries, any feedbacks regarding the show that we did today, do write us on our Facebook page with the name of,
Well, this morning on your television screens down below, you can see that.
on Twitter,
Well, this morning,
and on YouTube.
YouTube, you will actually have to look for PTV World and the most viewed show, which is World This Morning.
And the repeat of this one you can catch at
5 past midnight, ladies and gentlemen. Till the next time, look after yourself. But for everybody who's actually going back to school, please make sure that you follow all those SOPs as well, and keep an eye on the administration of the school, whether they're following all SOPs or not. Look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3. Good morning.
Stay safe.